Well, I'm still in Australia, same country, but different city. I arrived in glorious Melbourne last night, and I'm at the house of a very special friend of mine, enjoying a little afternoon sun, and of course, committed to bringing you your headlines from Israel. If you are joining me for the first time, welcome to it. I am Rolene Marks, and you've come to the Israel Brief, where we take a look at those top stories making headlines in Israel. Listen, we do it whether I'm in Israel or Australia or wherever around the world I am. As always, the Israel Brief is brought to you in partnership with Lay of the Land. It is day 591 since the atrocities of the 7th of October. Now, President Trump said something the other day. He said the world has forgotten that the 7th of October actually occurred. So we are here to remind you that on that day, the darkest day in Israel's history, Hamas and other terror entities from the Gaza Strip infiltrated southern Israel, murdering, raping, mutilating over 1,200 people, including foreign nationals, and taking over 251 hostage, of which 58 still remain in captivity in the absolute hell of the Gaza Strip. We want them all home now. I cannot believe that we are fast approaching 600 days of captivity, and we have heard from the hostages that have been released over the last now nearly 20 months about the horrendous conditions that they are enduring. We know that 35 are no longer with us, having either been killed on the 7th of October and their bodies taken captive by Hamas, or been killed in captivity. At least 3 of the hostages that we presume to still be alive, we have had no sign of life, and we are very, very concerned for their safety and for their fate, and 21 are confirmed alive. We have had signs of life, including from hostages that have been released. So let's take a look at the top story, and there has been a lot of criticism for Israel's decision several months ago to halt allowing humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip. Now, there have been many reports in the mainstream media accusing Israel of creating a situation in the Gaza Strip where there is mass starvation. Now, Israel is bound by the Geneva Convention not to inhibit the transfer of humanitarian aid, but we are not bound to bring in humanitarian aid or distribute it. And one of the reasons why there is such a lot of controversy is that the aid is more often than not hijacked by Hamas and other terror gangs inside the Gaza Strip, but also that there is a massive bottleneck and massive issues around the distribution of aid. So the Prime Minister has announced that Israel will allow in aid. He says this is at the recommendation of the IDF, but that Israel will act to ensure that Hamas does not get custody of that aid. What that looks like, we don't yet know. We know that they are still discussing new mechanisms for the adequate distribution of humanitarian aid. Meanwhile, the Gaza Humanitarian Aid Fund has welcomed this decision, along with several world leaders and members of the Israeli government coalition. Some of the more right-leaning, or rather far right-leaning coalition members have pushed back, saying that, why should Israel be allowing humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip? The IDF have confirmed expanding their military campaign in Gaza. The operational name of this is Operation Gideon's Chariot. Now, if you recall, the Israeli government issued Hamas an ultimatum saying that if we did not receive all of our hostages back by the end of President Trump's visit to the Gulf region, then Israel will expand our military campaign. Hamas, of course, did not comply or did not meet the demands of the ultimatum, and as a result, Israel has widened its military campaign. Now, according to media inside the Gaza Strip, there have been quite a significant amount of airstrikes carried out in places like Khan Yunis and southern Gaza. There have been some reports, although not confirmed by the IDF, that there was a commando operation earlier today to try and capture one of the leaders of the Popular Resistance Front of the Palestinian Movement, or the PIJ, the Popular Islamic Resistance Front. You have to excuse me. I'm still very, very jet lagged and a lot of dust and pollen in my chest at the moment. But as you know, hey, I stop for no one. We keep it real right here on the Israel Brief. We keep it as authentic as possible. So if I'm going to cough up a furball, guys, you're going to be there right along with me. The IDF has also pushed back against claims that commandos were on a mission to try and rescue hostages. They said this has not occurred. And as we always say here on the Israel Brief, when it comes to the issue of hostages, there are only two official sources of information, the IDF and the Hostages Forum, and of course that will be followed by the government press office. Meanwhile, a Saudi publication claimed just yesterday that the body of Mohammed Sinwar, believed to be the target of an assassination carried out by the IDF last week, was found in a tunnel in Khan Yunis. Sinwar is the brother of the October 7th mastermind, Yahya Sinwar, but we've yet to have confirmation from the IDF. 60 years after Israeli spy Ellie Cohen was executed in Damascus in Syria, the Mossad have recovered over 2,500 personal items, including documents and photographs, that through a very, very complex and covert operation they brought back from Syria into Israel to coincide with the anniversary marking 60 years of his execution, which was the 18th of May. The documents, the personal items, were handed over to his widow, Nadia. This is quite incredible, and many times I'm asked by you guys, what is the status of Ellie Cohen's remains? Will they be brought back to Israel? Are there negotiations? Has anything happened? And we don't have any updates. Of course, if there are negotiations happening, they're very much behind the scenes. And as soon as we do have anything, or anything is made public, we will update you. And finally, before we get to your audience question, she made it. She came second. Who am I talking about? Well, you have to be living under a rock if you haven't caught Israeli Eurovision fever. But our incredible Yuval Raphael, a survivor of the Nova massacre, who hid in one of the Miguniot, one of the roadside shelters, under the dead bodies of her friends for 8 hours, who started singing and took that magical voice of hers and a brilliant song called A New Day Will Rise, written by iconic Israeli songwriter Keren Pelez. And she did it. She came second. Now, what is very interesting is that Yuval won the popular vote. In fact, she won the highest amount of popular votes in recent history of the Eurovision competition, which tells you one thing, guys. What is it? There might be a lot of noise coming from the anti-Israel camp, but the world stands with Israel. In fact, the UK gave all their audience points, all 12 of their points, to Israel, as did other countries. 13 other countries voted in favor of Israel. So why didn't Israel come first? Well, that's because of the jury. The jury's votes, which were heavily weighted, voted in favor of Austria. I mean, we know they just can't have a Eurovision winner be Israeli or have the next Eurovision in Tel Aviv or Jerusalem, or as many of us in Israel say, have it at the site of the Nova Festival. Exercise that pain and that sorrow by bringing a music festival to the site of a massacre at a music festival. Now, of course, the competition did not go without controversy. During the performance, police arrested at least 2 couples who tried to rush the stage, shouting "Free Palestine" and throwing red paint over Eurovision staff. And in fact, Yuval had to be held back in the green room for a while due to security threat. Nevertheless, she conducted herself with magnificent talent, grace, and class and dignity, incredible dignity to win second place. But really, Yuvalush, you are a winner in all of our eyes and most certainly in all of our hearts, and we could not be more proud of you. And as you said at the end of your performance, Am Israel Chai. And before I get onto those social media reminders, guys, I don't know how I'm doing this. I'm exhausted. I'm literally operating on exhaust fumes. But I look so forward to my dates with you. And I know that probably on Wednesday and most definitely on Thursday, I won't be able to join you for your headlines as I will be traveling. But jet lag, schmet lag, I am joining you for a date on the Israel Brief. So we do have an audience question. It comes from Gillian in Johannesburg, who asks, when are the next elections in Israel? Well, the next elections are actually scheduled for around about October 2026. That is the usual 5-year space between elections. No, they're not 5 years, they're 3 years. Clearly, I need some sleep. The usual 3-year cycle, unless, of course, we have another issue that could collapse our coalition government. We do see a lot of threats coming from coalition members of the government who threaten to withdraw their position. In some cases, should we resume humanitarian aid? Should we force the Haredi to enlist in the army, and a whole host of other such issues, we'll call them politely. And as we've seen, the political horse trading that goes on behind the scenes in Israel, the coalition government is still holding, but come round about this time next year, you will start to see a lot of campaigning as we approach elections 2026. Will we have another cycle that holds for 3 years? Will we have a situation we had in the past where we go to elections every couple of months? It remains to be seen. So that's it from me, from Melbourne for today. Guys, don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our YouTube channel is right here at the Israel Brief. Help us push back the haters by clicking on that red subscribe button. We're on LinkedIn at Rolene Marks. I will resume posts to LinkedIn as soon as I'm back Ba'aretz. We're on Instagram at Rolene_Marks. And I always leave out X. We're on Lay of the Land 5. I'm going to catch some Z's in the meantime. God bless. I love you all, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.